Heyo, what's up guys? So, back when Electrocute got nerfed, I made a video about what's the best keystone for Kha Zix, and the result was pretty much that Dark Harvest was the better option. But recently, Dark Harvest got nerfed back in the current patch 8.20, and the nerf was that Dark Harvest lost 20 flat base damage, which affects mainly the early game, maybe a little bit in mid game, but you shouldn't really feel this too much in late game. So yeah, now since Dark Harvest also got a nerf, I want to do an update to what's the best keystone for Kha Zix. So I took the base damage from the keystone itself, took the bonus AD scaling that the two keystones give, and then I took the, in my opinion, strongest power spike for Kha Zix, which is the Warrior Jungle item combined with Duskblade, which gives a total amount of 115 AD, which basically means that from the bonus AD scaling that Dark Harvest gives, you gain 29 bonus AD, and from Electrocute you gain 46. And I tried to kinda look at my games and see when do I usually actually get my jungle item and Duskblade. And I usually get it between level 9 and level 11, for the most part. So that's pretty much the area that I want to focus on, by comparing the Keystone, Dark Harvest and Electrocute, and compare their damage output, and basically show you guys how many Dark Harvest stacks you actually need before Dark Harvest is actually more worth than Electrocute. I'll also be saying pros and cons for both keystones, and then you get to decide for yourself, depending on what's your playstyle on Kha Zix is. That's pretty much the keystone you want to go for. I'm not saying that one of them are better than the other one. It's pretty much personal preference, and it depends pretty much on playstyle. So if we take a look here, at level 9, with Duskblade and Jungle item, your damage output with your burst combo would be 262 damage. Compared to with Dark Harvest, it would be 182.5. So let's round it up to 183. Dark Harvest here, this is just base damage. I haven't included any Dark Harvest stacks here. It will be later in the math section that I'll add the Dark Harvest stacks that you need. So we can see here the damage difference at level 9 between Electrocute and Dark Harvest is 80. So if Dark Harvest should be more worth to take over Electrocute at level 9, you would need at least 80 Dark Harvest stacks, which you can get. I have gotten 80 Dark Harvest stacks at level 9, but sometimes you get less and sometimes you get more. So it pretty much depends how many kills, how many jungle camps you actually end up getting. But yeah, you'll need 80 Dark Harvest stacks before Dark Harvest is more worth to take in terms of damage output than Electrocute. And then it's up to yourself, like, are you actually getting 80 Dark Harvest stacks? You can go to your games and look. Maybe look at whenever you're level 9 and kind of see, do I actually get like these 80 Dark Harvest stacks? Do I get more or do I get less? And then decide for yourself. At level 10, Electrocute total damage output will be 271 compared to Dark Harvest with 185. And the total difference in AD is 86, which means that you need 86 or more Dark Harvest stacks before Dark Harvest will deal more damage. And at level 11, it's 92.5, so let's round it up to 93. So you'd need 94 Dark Harvest stacks before Dark Harvest would be more worth to take in terms of damage output than Electrocute. So you can kind of do the math for yourself. Like, of course, you'll be needing more Dark Harvest stacks for every level up before your Dark Harvest will still end up being more worth than Electrocute. So the higher level you are, the more Dark Harvest stacks you need before Electrocute, or before Dark Harvest will have a higher damage output than Electrocute. So let me tell you guys the pros and cons of doing these different keystones. So for Dark Harvest, the good thing about Dark Harvest is its scaling, which means that you have pretty much infinite scaling as long as you're continuing farming and killing people, which basically means that you can essentially always one-shot the enemy AD carry unless they start to get full build and start to build defensive items. The second good thing about Dark Harvest is the fact that in teamfights, if you kill someone and you pick up the Dark Harvest souls, your Dark Harvest actually gets reset, so you will deal bonus damage to the next target you jump onto as well, which has a really good synergy with Evolve. So if you do Evolve on Kha Zix and you get usually really fed, I think Dark Harvest is better because your damage output in teamfights would be even higher. The cons of going Dark Harvest, of course, will be the fact that if you fall behind and you get counter jungled, you don't get Dark Harvest stacks, which means that you are lacking damage and you're already behind in terms of, it could be anything from XP to gold to items. So you will be punished twice, like you'll be punished double the amount by going Dark Harvest compared to Electrocute. So that's the pros and cons. You get to decide for yourself what keystone you prefer, what is your playstyle. Is it scaling, late game, then go for Dark Harvest. And if it's the opposite, if it's the early game, you should go for Electrocute. So the pros of Electrocute is the fact that it has a higher flat base damage. Which means that in early game, or just in general, like the flat damage you get from Electrocute is higher. Which means that it's good for early fighting, it's good for early one-shotting, essentially, if you're fed. And the second pro thing of taking Electrocute is that it has a higher bonus AD scaling. So if you prefer to go full AD lethality Kha Zix, Electrocute will actually be more worth since it gives 40% compared to Dark House that only gives 25%. So you essentially get even more AD, so you can one-shot even faster. The cons of Electrocute is the fact that it doesn't scale as well as Dark Harvest. And that's actually pretty much... Oh, and then of course that you don't reset Electrocute in teamfights. You can pretty much only proc Electrocute once since it has a 20 to 25 second cooldown. So unless it's really long extended teamfights, you might proc it twice, but for the main part you will only proc it once, compared to Dark House where you can essentially proc it up to 5 times if you end up killing 5 people. Actually just 4 people because you will reset. So that's pretty much it. The pros and cons of Electrocute and Dark Harvest. In my opinion, if you do full AD lethality Kha Zix, I think Electrocute is better overall. But if you do the Bruiser utility Kha Zix type of style, I think that Dark Harvest is the better option. So I will also do one for... I'll do some math for later ranks, and then you guys can see, like in late game, how many Dark Harvest stacks you actually need in the late game before it's actually worth. And then you get to decide for yourself what keystone you want to go for Kha Zix. But I definitely would say that Dark Harvest and Electrocute are the 2 main keystones for Kha Zix. I've been told that Phase Rush is also a viable keystone, but I only think that Phase Rush is viable for really high elo like Master Tier and Challenger, or competitive play because it gives so much utility, and lower elo people don't really utilize utility as well as higher elo. So I would definitely say that you should either stick to Dark Harvest or Electrocute. Okay, so I did the math for later ranks as well. I did include another AD item into late game. I should have added 4 items instead of only 3 AD items. But I basically added Ghostblade to later ranks, so level 16, 17 and 18. Which basically means that your total bonus AD will now be 160, and you'll be getting 40 bonus 80 from Dark Harvest and 64 from Electrocute. Which basically means that for later ranks with 3 AD items, you will need, at level 16, 131 Dark Harvest stacks. At level 17 you would need 138, and level 18 you would need 144. If I included another 80 item, you would need even more Dark Harvest stacks, since that Electrocute has a higher bonus 80 scaling percentage than Dark Harvest has. So if you tend to go really AD heavy Kha Zix with a lot of AD items and lethality, Electrocute might be better for you. If you don't go that many AD items, you might do Black Cleaver or more defensive items. Dark Harvest will be better because of the scaling. But you get to decide for yourself what keystone you prefer. I won't take the choice for you. You get to do that for yourself. But I would definitely say that for level 9, 10, and 11, these amount of Dark Harvest stacks you should be able to get the amount of Dark Harvest stacks that you need for Dark Harvest to deal more damage than Electrocute. For level 16, 17, and 18, I should have added another 80 item. The Dark Harvest stacks would maybe be 5 to 10, maybe 15 more. And I think that you should be able to get the amount of Dark Harvest stacks. I think you should be able to get 131, 138, and 144 at level 16, 17, and 18. And if I then included one more 80 item, then you would add like 5, 10, or 15 Dark Harvest stacks, which I also think you should be able to get in the later stages of the game. So yeah, this was pretty much the in-depth explanation to what is the best keystone for Kha Zix. You get to decide for yourself. I think it's personal preference and playstyle that gets to decide what keystone you'll end up using. I might try Electrocute out on my Smurf account, where I do QE evolve with full AD lethality Kha Zix. But I think I'll stick to Dark Harvest myself on my main account, where I mainly do QW evolve, and I do Jungle Item, Duskblade, and Black Cleaver. So this is pretty much the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to discuss what keystone is best for Kha Zix, feel free to leave a comment down below. I will gladly reply to it, or you can come to my stream. There will be a link to my stream in the description, and then we can discuss it on stream. But this was pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys either on in my next YouTube video or on my next stream. See you guys.